Welcome to another episode of Financial Empowerment with Nick Abrams. I'm your host, Nick Abrams. Over my 20-year career as a financial advisor, I've had the pleasure of working with countless individuals, couples, and business owners on helping them make their financial dreams come true. I've done this by helping them provide strategies that empower themselves financially. Unfortunately, I've also encountered numerous people who have made financial mistakes that could be very costly. And it's not that they've done these mistakes on purpose. It's just they did not have the knowledge, research, or the tools to empower themselves financially. And that's why this show was created. Each episode, we strive to provide you topics and qualified and expert guests to give you the information and the tools and the knowledge that will help you empower yourself, that will make you better financially. So today's show, we're going to talk about 10 ways to prevent money from ruining your marriage. I looked at a survey done by 119 certified divorce financial analyst professionals across the country. And they were talking about the top reasons for divorce. Number 3 was finances. According to this study, 22% of marriages end because of money issues. Money matters in a relationship. There's a book done called The Complete Marriage Book by Dr. David Stoop and Dr. Jan Stoop. And it said that money is an innate object, but we attach great emotional significance to it. Money only becomes our friend if we learn, as a couple, if we learn to partner around the decisions related to money. I find that very powerful and very good for this particular topic. I'd like to introduce our guest today, Dr. Marcus Hummings. Dr. Hummings, welcome to our show.
Thank you.
Now, you are a licensed psychologist in the Washington, D.C. area, correct?
I am, yes.
Tell us a little about yourself and your background.
Well, I've been a licensed psychologist here in the district and in Virginia. I've been practicing here for about the last 10 years. Okay. I've been doing private practice work here with couples and individuals who are survivors of traumatic childhood experiences. I've been doing that for about 10 years. I have also been on staff at Howard University as well. Therapy with students, undergrad and graduate students here in the district at Howard University as well. I've also been doing some contract work with the court services and offender supervision agency here in the district as well. Okay.
And I was looking at your bio, you were talking about you also do a lot of work with relationships. So that's one of the key areas that you look at. Tell us a little bit about what you do in that area as far as relationships.
Probably about half of my private practice is dealing with relationships, dealing with couples, married, premarital, individuals who are, just in long-term relationships and want to come in and work on some of the issues that they're having in their relationship. And so a good amount of my work in private practice is with couples.
So money, finances. I was looking and ran across this in Forbes magazine talking about the 10 ways to prevent money from ruining your marriage. And I thought this is going to be a great topic for the show. You look at the divorce rates, they say 50% divorce rates. As I said earlier, the study's shown that, one of the top 3 reasons for finances is money. When we looked at number 1 on the don't set yourself up for ruining your marriage, it was saying don't set yourself up for a disaster. Let's talk a little bit more about that. So let's paint the picture here. A couple coming to you for premarital counseling, and you're going through finding out about them, they're talking, and you see that on finances, they're at opposite ends of this. How do you start working with that?
Well, what I tell couples usually is financial issues in a relationship is just as important as the other important areas of a relationship, as in kids, as in when to get married, as in who you're marrying, as in religion, as in whatever the major topics of a relationship are, money is just as important. However,
why is that?
Because we attach both behavioral and emotional valence to money.
Okay.
And whereas it's an object, we place so much more on that particular object. You know, so much valence, so much charge, emotionally and behaviorally on the topic. However, couples generally don't communicate as much about money as they do about sex, about religious preferences, about how to deal with family members, about how to deal with kids.
Wow. So you talked about communication, which was a key here, because number 2 on that list was discuss your demons. So that's bringing out the good, the bad, and everything. How do you go about, I'm getting ready to get married. I found the love of my life. I'm in love. Love is in the air. It's springtime. I've gone through the proposal. We're getting ready to get married. How do you walk in and start discussing the demons, the parts about finances that are not so good? How do you get to that point?
Well, I think it has to be a priority just as much as some of the other topics. When I start talking about money issues and marriage with couples, I usually start with what is your money history? How was money treated in your family of origin? Was it a scarcity? Was there an abundance? Who possessed the money? How did you use it? When did you use it? What did you use it on? And those underlying patterns and behaviors and beliefs about money, couples have generally been just using those same patterns over decades of their life. And so by the time that they get married, they're in a solid set pattern. And now they have to adjust it in order to create a life with someone else.
Wow.
And so it's a major discussion to talk about money in a relationship.
So you brought up that generational thing where, this is how my parents did it, so I'm already ingrained in that. How do you work through that?
Well, what I do is I take couples, you have to stop, take a step back, and go through each individual's money fears, their money fears and their money beliefs. For example, if an individual comes to a marriage with fears about not having money, not having a roof over their head, and the other individual has grown up with money as a resource throughout their entire life, the way that they deal with money in the relationship is going to be totally different.
All right. Dr. Hummings, I'm going to have to stop you right there. We've got to go to break real quick. But we're going to come back and talk more about those fears and how to work through those fears. As always, viewers, take out your piece of paper or pen, get down notes. We got some great information coming to you. I'm Nick Abrams. We'll be right back. Hello, this is Nick Abrams, host of Financial Empowerment with Nick Abrams, with your financial tip of the day. With today's world of automation, computers, and technology, we've seen an increase in identity theft. It's projected that it can cost an individual $1,300 who is a victim of identity theft. Nationwide, on average last year, it cost about $15 billion to deal with identity theft. There are a couple things you can do to help secure your information. First, secure your Social Security number. Be careful who you give it out to and make sure you protect it. Secondly, do not respond to strange requests for information. We've all gotten those emails saying that if we do something, we will get a large sum of money from someone who's out of a different country who needs our help to bring money to the U.S. Please do not respond to those. If you do get those requests, just ignore it. Also, if you get phone calls from different people wanting your information, do not provide that information to them. Also, store your information in a secure place. Encrypt your information, store it in a safe deposit box, somewhere safe where you do not have access to it or someone cannot readily access your personal information. Lastly, shred information. That could be your credit card statements, bills, personal documents that have social security numbers, or any other pertinent information about you. Shredding that can prevent someone from putting that back together and using that to steal your identity. I'm Nick Abrams, and this is your financial tip of the day. Hi, Nick Abrams here with Dr. Marcus Hummings. We're talking about 10 ways to prevent money from ruining your marriage. When we left off, you were talking about the fears, and one couple being fear of losing money or not having money, another person who's come from an abundance of money. Let's kind of pick that discussion up. So you got two different people when it comes to money. How do you now bring that into that union of one?
Mm-hmm. Well, each individual has to be able to place themselves in the other individual's shoes.
And Doc, that's hard to do because I'm married 13 years. That's not the easiest thing to do. You got to walk me through that. How do we?
Well, first off, both people have to prioritize the health of the relationship. And so just as important as sex is, just as important as the kids are, you have to treat the discussion of money in the same way, as in the communication about money should be just as healthy as the rest of the areas of the marriage.
Wow.
And so oftentimes what you see is couples won't treat the communication about money, if there is healthy communication about money,
that's a good thing.
Isn't sufficient. And so you have to start the conversation. You have to prioritize the conversation, and then you have to have common goals about what the marriage, the financial goals of the marriage.
Wow. Okay.
And so the couple has to come together and make decisions about where they want the marriage to be financially and how they want to interact with each other.
Okay, so, and I'm learning this as you're talking. I'm taking this, I'm getting a free therapy session right now. Look at situations where, me and my wife, for example, we were both 27, 28 when we got married, both had our own stuff, and then trying to merge that in. Is that something that has to be done right away, or does that happen over time?
Yeah. What I usually go over with couples is just like every other discussion of important areas, discussion and communication about money is a living, breathing entity. And so it's an ongoing, ever-evolving conversation. And so it doesn't have to be, it is never one major conversation that happens and then it's done. Although many people feel that it should be, but it's always an evolving conversation, and some people do it differently. Some people have hour-long discussions, 2-hour-long discussions. Some people have 5-minute discussions frequently. And so it's whatever works for the couple, but it's an ongoing conversation that needs to happen.
Okay. Something else you talked about were goals. And, I have a lot of people come to my office and they have different goals, and we try to, as financial advisors, get them sort of on the same track. Those goals that you have, let's say before you get married or right as you get married, do those change, and how do you evolve with those goals?
Yes, they do change. And that is why there needs to be a constant discussion about money. And the details of the goals come out throughout the discussion and the frequent discussion of of money issues in the relationship. And the healthier discussion you have, the more frequent the discussions, the better you understand your partner's concerns about money, the more healthy the goals in the relationship are.
So understanding, does understanding mean you have to agree, or that's just you understand?
Well, no, yeah. So, that doesn't necessarily have to be that you understand every single idea and emotion of your partner.
Thank you.
That cannot happen literally
Okay.
because they have a totally different history, and you'll never be able to understand it totally.
All right.
However, in compromise,
That
there
C
is,
word.
that takes a lot of work,
Doc.
but over time, the better you're able to compromise with your partner, both individuals' needs are met and both individuals feel heard in the communication.
Compromise. I'm gonna take a breath on that. Okay, compromise is important.
Yeah.
You're right.
Yeah.
Okay. Couple things as we're going through the 10 ways. We've talked about understanding your partner's mindset, setting the goals. Budget is a key thing. When we come back, we're going to talk about something very important, and that's stop keeping secrets.
Mm-hmm.
So I want to go to a break on this because I know this is a good one, and that's always couples dealing with those secrets. As I told you, we're having a dynamite discussion right here, talking about the 10 ways to prevent money from ruining your marriage. I'm Nick Abrams. We'll be right back. And welcome back to Financial Empowerment with Nick Abrams. We're here with Dr. Marcus Hummings, and he was giving us some great education on how to prevent money from ruining your marriage. You were talking about the C word, compromise, as we closed out. The next part of that, looking at 10 things to do that, was to stop keeping secrets. So I know a lot of people, and I was talking to a person I used to work with years ago, and her and her husband had been married probably 30 some years at that point. Mm-hmm. And she said something. She said, he still doesn't know all that I have. Mm-hmm. How important is it to open up and not keep those secrets?
If you do not disclose your fears and underlying beliefs in the relationship, I'm not going to say it's impossible, but it is extremely difficult to meet your financial goals.
Everything, Doc?
Everything. It's like running up a down elevator or swimming up a stream. It just makes it that much more difficult.
Okay, so stop keeping the secrets. Okay, I'm gonna trust you on that one, Doc. I'm gonna trust you. Viewers, the Doc said it. Stop keeping the secrets. Breathing room. Now, with this, we're talking about, we're going to stop keeping secrets, but do I need to discuss everything, every little purchase with my partner, or do we give each other some breathing room and set some parameters to say anything over this amount we discuss, but I don't need to hear about the lunch that you bought, the pack of bubble gum? How does that work, getting that breathing room, that space?
Well, breathing room allows for both individuals' needs to be met.
Okay.
And so if you need space, space in the budget allows you to meet your own need, have your own flexibility, and have your own freedom within the relationship. But it allows both individuals' needs to be met. Mm-hmm. It allows both individuals to take care of their financial responsibilities, and it allows the financial goals for the marriage to be met as well.
Mm-hmm. And one of the things, Doc, I consistently hear you say is the us, mm-hmm. the need. So a lot of times when people come to my office, they start talking about this is mine, mm-hmm. this is hers or mm-hmm. his. But you're saying when you're married, it's a us thing.
It must be an us thing.
Must be an us.
It must be a we.
Okay.
It must be a we. I does not have a place in financial discussions in a marriage.
You hear that? So when you are married,
Yeah.
all right. So let's take this. We've been talking about people in the beginning of stages of marriage. So let's take somebody who's been married 10 years and things change in the marriage all the time. The money situations changes. So they come, there's constantly fighting. How do you sit down for those people who are already in the marriage and they might have already come up with their systems and ideas and quite frankly it's not working? What do they do?
Well, oftentimes when you see that particular dynamic, people are still really entrenched in their own individual history and patterns of behaving with money in a certain way. And they're still entrenched in their own emotional kind of charge that they've placed on money as well.
Wow.
And so the shift needs to be where they start looking as a we, as a, how does the marriage handle money? How does the marriage deal with crisis? How does the marriage deal with abundance? How does the marriage deal with resources?
Okay.
And so it's really a matter of shifting from that individualistic kind of view, the single view,
Right.
and into a marriage view of money.
So even though we've been married 10 or so years, I still have that old thinking way of doing things, and I just brought it into the marriage.
Yeah.
It might have worked for a little bit, but now we've hit a bump, and now that's where the issues are coming in. Treating others, it's called the golden rule, treating others as you want to be treated. How do you treat your partner in this the way you want to be treated, or how can you see their point of view in it?
Well, it really relies on, we're going to circle back around to placing yourself in your partner's shoes. Really understanding what their money fears are, really understanding what their money beliefs are. And so if the individuals are able to communicate all of their fears and concerns and beliefs about money, you're better able to understand how they view money and where they need to grow, where they need to adjust, and how far they need to come. And so by doing that, you give your partner the opportunity to step into your shoes, and then move forward from that point. So if you understand how your partner sees relationships and sees money, you're better able to meet their needs. And when you meet your partner's needs, they're much more ready to meet your needs.
Wow.
When their needs are being met. All of us are.
Really?
Yeah.
I don't think there's any more else to say after that. Viewers, I told you this is going to be a great show. How can our viewers contact you?
You can get in touch with me at my website. It's Metro Center Psych, metrocenterpsych.com.
Dr. Marcus Hummings, thank you so
Thank
much
you so
for this
much.
show, for coming out. Viewers, as I said, we've talked about the 10 ways to help money, to prevent money from ruining your marriage. If you need help, you contact doctor, contact someone. There are resources out there available. We want to empower you financially the best way we can. I'm Nick Abrams. Thank you.